All planeswalkers like Secret Santa a lot. But Krampus, that miser curmudgeon, did not. Krampus hated the giving and hated the season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be he got mana screwed the whole night, or one shot by someone's Colossus of Blight. But I think that the most likely reason of all is we're talking Christmas, and it's only fall. Whatever the reason, his games or his deck, he stood there resenting your spiciest tech. He looked down on your bolts with a sour Krampus scowl, and wished you'd just all play Vanquish the Foul. For he knew all the players at every store champ were filling their decks up with card draw and ramp. They'll cast swords to plowshares, he snarled with a sneer. They're rifting and seizing with Signet's Demir. He growled and he fired up his old Krampus cunning. I must stop their infinite combos from running. Each Thursday he knew he'd hear lots of destroys. People using removal with cleverness. Poise! They'd cast Decimate, ruining all of his toys. He'd not hear the end of those blasted destroys. He'd find out within his best card was a beast. A 3/3, vanilla, green token. A beast! They'd laugh and they'd label his win con deceased, which was something the Krampus won't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Something much worse than a whisper silk shawl. Their cards would be picked, but instead of some fun, they would all put in rocks with a CMC1. They'd play rings and play rings and play rings. And the more Krampus thought of the stupid soul rings, the more Krampus thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for over 2 years I've put up with it now. I must keep their good decks from playing. But how? Then he got an idea. An awful idea. This Krampus conceived up a format idea. A clandestine Krampus, he said with a grin. Now that is a format that no one can win. It's just like Secret Santa, he said with a smirk, except that your deck's gone completely berserk. So he started up drafting the rules of this game to subvert expectations without being lame. The point of this format is lunacy, fun, so don't make something boring if you don't want one. The absolute point of this Christmas time gaff is to build on a theme that will make someone laugh. Try Volvers or Amphin, or T-posing art, or stabbing, or Landhome, or 6 feet apart. Be original when coming up with your theme, and align every card with your devious scheme. That's the whole core idea. Please don't make a lame gift, for a deck that's half-baked means a giftee gets miffed. We've seen it before, and it's pretty backhand. So don't build a deck that's just terribly bland. If it's crappy but cool, then I won't blink an eye. But 99 basics is not gonna fly. So argue your thesis in 100 cards, whether it's mist forms or ordered graveyards. If you find one great card that you really must use, it can have silver border if it would amuse. Just don't build a deck that's got more than a few, because the point is reuse after Krampus is through. The kicker, however, I do mean to pun, is to shut your big mouths and not tell anyone. Don't spoil your theme. It's a Krampus surprise. I still have to make the assignments, you guys. If all the group learns of a theme that you make, it'll be really boring. Now cut me a break. Just wait for assignments to settle, and then you can bounce some ideas off a non-gifty friend. Like last year, I'll set up the Who Gets Who list with this year's 2020. So here's the twist. The pandemic's here, a Phyrexian plague. So the chance of us meeting in person are vague. We don't know what December will look like just yet, so assignments this year may be made in quartets. Our hope is that we can all play side by side, but quarantine shutdowns our laws will abide. So if In the Flesh meetings can't happen this year, I still have a plan that should bring us some cheer. I'll make the assignments in 6 or in 4, and we'll still have Krampus outside of the store. The pods will be separate and pick their own site. You could even Zoom if we're locked down that tight. This is worst case scenario, not my first pick, but I'd rather still play and not risk getting sick. However, if we're in the clear to meet live, we'll do so December the 12th, starts at 5. The venue, of course, will be here at Dark Prime. And as added incentive to be here on time, we're planning a potluck before the event so that we can be fed right before our torment. The potluck's at 2. Bring a magic-themed dish or a Christmassy food that you think is delish. Some people have food sensitivities, yes? So label your dish like Peanuts Kaladesh. Put your phone and your name on this signing up list. By November 19th, after that, it's a miss. You're in or you're out, you've been warned in advance. So sign up real early when you get the chance. We'll all need some time to assemble the stuff. 3 weeks and 2 days should be plenty enough. Your giftie's name I'll send to you via text. Try not to tell them, let's keep them perplexed. This time around, there's another detail. Give it a name, like Beyond the Pale. Put the deck's name somewhere they'll see it first, so they'll get a hint on just how they're accursed. Put their commander face first, but the rest you'll face backwards, so it's much harder to guess. When finished with whatever mess you achieve, Jason supplies a deck box and some sleeves. They're free, so let's all show the man gratitude by buying some extra cards, packs, or some food. And speaking of extras, this year keeps on giving. Despite the uncertainty with which we're living this year, because Krampus's influence grew, our friend Matt is bringing some Krampus stuff too. He's printing some shirts, and he's bringing dice bags. So bring a few bucks if you want some new swag. And now that the rules exposition is through, let's check in on Krampus, see what he's up to. And Krampus, now smiling as smug as can be, said, "Their decks are all terrible. All thanks to me. They came without staples. They're chock full of gags. They came without elegance, moxes, or brags. When nobody's powerful, anything goes." So he spied at the decks from the tips of his toes to search for the pompousest Krampus of all, and recognize it for its nerve and its gall. And now, my dear friends, is the part I like best. The entrance fee! Now, since we're all rather blessed, please bring a donation of food, or TP, or sundry goods that a shelter might need. Reserve that old Krampus's misery for the folks who signed up and are asking for more.